What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So last night we jumped on the PTR in Slesh's Guild Exodus, and we raided Black Temple. Now, we had a really good time. I think this raid is a lot of fun, but there's a couple of things I'm a little bit worried about when it comes to the more casual guilds, or dad guilds if you want to call them, whatever you want to call them. I do think that there is some stuff that I am worried about when it comes to these guilds, but it's only for one specific reason. And I want to jump into that and kind of give you guys an overview of how our night went in Black Temple. We did not step foot into Hyjal yet. We're supposed to be doing that either tonight or tomorrow, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. But I wanted to give you like kind of my thoughts and opinions on how the raid went last night. So we jumped into Black Temple and we really didn't know what to expect, right? Everyone knows these raids, they're figured out. We know most of the mechanics and all of that stuff, but you know, there's some things up in the air that you don't really know for certain, and if they're going to go well or not. So starting off the raid with High Warlord Nagentis, we had a blast with this one. This was pretty easy. For the most part, it felt like all of this raid was going to be pretty solid and pretty easy, I would say, even for casual guilds once you know the mechanics. Right now, there are a good amount of mechanics. I would argue that Black Temple feels very similar in regards to tier 5 content, right? It's not much harder than SSC and TK, and it took a few weeks for the casual and dad guilds to start getting that down, and then they were able to do it no problem. When it comes to Black Temple and Hyjal, I think this is going to be pretty much the same case for most of the raids. All the bosses, really up until the Illidari Council, felt pretty much, you know, similar to Serpent Shrine Cavern. I think people are going to have a pretty easy time in here if you're in a sweaty guild, and if you're in a more casual guild, I think you're going to struggle a little bit until everyone kind of gets their feet wet and starts learning the mechanics and starts getting some gear and all that to kind of help bolster you up. And I think that you'll, you know, begin having an easier time. Now, with our experience in the raid, we did go in with, for the most part, the gear that we have currently in phase 2, right? So most people in here are not rocking full, you know, tier 6 or anything like that. I think there was a few people in the raid who were using stuff from phase 3, but for the most part, most of the raid was just using their copied character from, you know, the live version of TBC Anniversary. And that's how we approached this. Now, from my point of view, rating this, last Burning Crusade, I was also playing ranged at this point. Normally, I play warrior, but for some reason, last TBC, I already was swapped over to my mage and my warlock for Black Temple and Hyjal. And so, from this perspective, I'm playing ranged again in this phase. And from a ranged DPS perspective, really nothing in here is that crazy, but there are some fights in the raid that definitely do require you to, you know some mechanics, right? There's actually some stuff going on in this raid where you do need to follow the mechanics, and if you don't, you will wipe the raid, right? Like, you know, certain fights that I would pay particular attention to would be like Reliquary of the Lost, you know, the face. Gurtag Blood Boil has some serious mechanics. The Illidari Council has some serious mechanics. Illidan, of course. Terran Gorfine was kind of a freebie, but, you know, with one mechanic that you really need to make sure you understand. Shade of Akama, another freebie. I would also say High Warlord Nagentis, another freebie. Supremus definitely has some mechanics, and those volcanoes can kill you if you're not paying attention, and their radius is a lot more than you would think. I actually died to a volcano on him as well. And Mother Shiraz, right? Everyone talks about Mother with the shadow resistance. Do we need shadow resistance? How much shadow resistance do we need? Do we need it at all if we have engineering? I want to let you guys know that I'll be honest, it's still not 100% certain. I think we got to really iron this one out. I did not have a shadow resist set on for this. I am an engineer and I had engineering boots, but I did not get fatal attraction, so I did not need to, you know, pop my boots and run away from others and take all of that damage. So again, not sure about that, but I will be making my super simple Black Temple and Hyjal guides when these raids launch and I get to have a better understanding of how everything is going to play out. But again, for the most part, pretty much all of the bosses leading up to the Illidari Council felt pretty easy, right? Yeah, you're gonna wipe some, you're gonna, you know, everyone's gotta kind of dip their toes a little bit and see these fights and see the mechanics, but there's nothing in here that's absolutely crazy. I really would, you know, rate this, you know, as the same difficulty level as SSC and TK for the most part. However, We were raiding, normally we clear SSC and TK in under 2 hours, both raids. You know, we do it pretty fast. And on here, we were our first night in Black Temple. We were raiding for, I would say, about 3-ish hours, and we did not down the Illidari Council. Now, we definitely could have downed it. We got down to 5% on our last pull, but it was getting late, and people were really tired and wanted to go. So we absolutely would have cleared the whole thing if we had more time, and we're going to be picking it back up either tonight or tomorrow. But the Illidari Council is definitely, to me, where I see this raid shifting from, you know, like the same experience as Phase 2 into a little bit more of a complex style of raiding for those casual and dad guilds out there. There's a lot going on the council fight, and pretty much the whole raid needs to just do everything correct. And it's very easy to die. There's blizzards going off. There's flame strikes going off. You know, the council themselves become immune to magic damage and pretty much immune to physical damage. And you need to be kind of swapping, you know, who your target is based on what their, you know, shield is at the moment. You're going to need to be kicking the priest. But, you know, when she's immune to magic, she has to be kicked by a physical. And when she's immune to that, she has to be kicked by like a mage or a shaman's earth shock, stuff like that. So it gets a little bit more complex, but again, nothing that's too hard for people to learn. I actually think that casual guilds and dad guilds are going to have a good time learning this raid because it does feel like a true raid, right? Like it's a lot of bosses. There's a lot going on. You really are kind of just like adventuring your way through the Black Temple and taking on these bosses. So I think it's going to be a good time. And I really do think that most casual guilds and dad guilds out there are going to have a pretty easy time learning the raid, probably up until the Illidari Council. And that's where you're going to really need to lock in and like really have your raid, you know, pull this a bunch of times and let everyone see all the mechanics and see what they're supposed to be doing. And then again, I think once everyone gets that down, it's just kind of, you know, pull a million times until everyone starts to get it. And then I think even then, you know, people are going to be able to down this, you know, even in those casual guilds. And then Illidan is definitely easier than the council fight. But I do think that this is a very fun raid. Black Temple is definitely one of my favorite raids, if not my favorite raid in the Burning Crusade. Just because of the setting, the theme of it, the boss fights are really fun. It's massive, you know. It feels like a true raid. And I really do enjoy it. I think I enjoy Black Temple a lot more than I enjoy SSC and TK, to be completely honest. Not sure about Hyjal. I know last TBC when I, you know, stepped foot in Hyjal, I enjoyed it the first 2 times, and then after that I was like, oh man, like there's a lot of trash. It's a lot of RP and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. But, you know, I'll make a little overview on that as well, on my thoughts and opinions on the raid. But for the most part, Black Temple, if you've been looking forward to it, it's for good reason. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for most people. I think every guild out there, even the most casual guilds, you will get a chance to clear this raid as long as, you know, you kind of lock in and try and learn these fights. And like I said, I will be making my super simple guide for Black Temple and Hyjal once these raids are live. I should be posting them. I just want to make sure that I get everything down and I can trim it down to the most simple version possible because I know people like that style of raid guide that I do. But yeah, very fun experience. Definitely a step up in difficulty once you get to council. But before that, the first 7 bosses, in my opinion, even including Mother, pretty much a gimme once you understand the mechanics. I really don't think people are going to struggle that much on these. You know, Reliquary of the Lost, again, another one that has so much going on and 3 really different phases. But for the most part, it's once you know what's going on and you know, it's not bad, in my opinion. I think it was pretty easy for the most part. And even Council, like I said, we got it to 5%. And I think if we had 1 or 2 more pulls in us, we would have downed it. And then I think we probably would have 1-shot Illidan, if not 2-shot Illidan. But I'll keep you guys posted on that when we get back in there. But yeah, if you've been excited for the launch of Black Temple, again, it's for good reason. You guys are going to have a really good time in here, no matter what kind of guild you're in. And you know what? It's kind of fun getting stuck on a boss and you know, having to like work together and figure out the best strat and learn what to do to you know, finally down the boss. So again, I'm excited for this. I can't wait for the raids to come out. We're going to be raiding in our guild the second that the raids go live on August 27th. And if you guys want to watch us continue the PTR, make sure you drop me a follow over on twitch.tv/hammerdance. I always stream it when we're on the PTR doing these things. And subscribe to the channel if you guys love Classic WoW just as much as me. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. Those are my thoughts on how Black Temple went on the PTR last night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.